Hey there! Today we're going to have a look at a pen by a brand that I must say I have always enjoyed. I haven't really had bad experiences with this brand. Faber Castell from the Nuremberg area where I once was, and that was very, very pleasant. Now they also have a nice shop in town, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. No, that was Stadtland. Anyway, okay, I'm rambling, so I'll just shut up. The Faber Castell WritINK is what we're going to be talking about today. I don't know if that's supposed to be a pun, like WritINK, writing, but in any case, the WritINK. This pen was sent to me by Gold Spot. Thank you very much. And we're talking about the WritINK, which is $28, and I'm going to show you the parts of the pen, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then you will never guess, I'm going to do a writing sample. Okay. White cardboard outer sleeve and box. What's in the box? Not my first rodeo, people. Pen sleeve and pen. $28. Simple pen. Nothing wrong with that. This one is pink, but I wrote it down. You can also get them in black, white, or blue. And there is actually a little bit to talk about before we go into the parts of the pen. Barrel is made of ABS plastic, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the same thing the Lamy Safari is made of, and that's supposed to be a sort of a bulletproof plastic. It's very hard and very shock resistant and all that, so it should be a pretty stable pen. Then there is this fingerprint, and that is actually very interesting. The fingerprint is put on there by 3D printing. So that's interesting. I have a little bit of trouble imagining what this would look like. I don't know if that means the entire barrel is 3D printed. I can't really picture that. But if it's not, then how do you put it on here? I don't know. Sorry, I couldn't really figure it out. It's probably my stupidity. But in any case, 3D printed, so that's kind of nice. A wide range of nib options, which is nice. Given that this is a sub $30 pen, you can go all the way from extra fine to medium to broad. So 4 nib options at this price, I don't think that is that horrible. That is quite nice. So it's an affordable option for sure. Let's look at this pen in more detail. So this is obviously the pink version. Guess who requested that? This has the black cap. It has the Faber Castell on there and the logo. I always enjoyed that logo. It's very very classy with the little yeah, I'll show you. Hard to see. Sorry, but it's sort of two knights on horses fighting it out with lances. I just think it's neat. You have a little sticker there, and you have a clip. And another thing is, this pen really is the gift that keeps on giving. It's ABS plastic and nib options, and it has a spring-loaded clip, which again at this price is really not that common, but it's very nice. I know it's black on black here, but that clip works very well. Barrel, I've already shown you the fingerprint, definitely interesting. And then you have a little metal end there, come back to that. Oh, and the top of the cap has this sort of little dimple in it, which I've seen in more Faber Castell pens. Interesting trademark. Secure cap for sure, that really pops on there. Does post securely as well. Then you have a nicely shaped sized pen. Works pretty well. So reasonably sized pen. It's a bit blocky maybe, but it's not super small. Section, you see that has discolored a little bit because of the ink. That's just because it's been left inked for a while. You see that the section has a very slight taper down and then a very slight flare out, which is actually quite comfortable to hold, I found. Then you have a black coated nib. Now, I have often sung the praises on Faber Castell nibs. Their steel nibs are, I find, exquisite. I have been using them for a long time. You can get them with some of the slightly more expensive pens like the Emotion, but even their more affordable models like the Loom, the Basic, their nibs are great. In my mind, I've used their broad nibs often, and they're just wonderful, very, very smooth. Often when a nib is coated in the black stuff, as is the case here, it loses a little bit of the smoothness, just because the tipping material is also coated often. You can sort of polish it off with micro mesh, but in this case, I actually found it pretty smooth. Now, you I think you can see a little bit, I don't know how well the camera picks it up, maybe you see that this tipping is a little bit more silvery, so I wonder if that coating has already worn off, or if they did not really bother to coat that. I simply cannot tell, but what I will say is it's a smooth nib, and that's really quite nice. Pen is cartridge converter fed, but I'm not 100% sure a converter would fit in. I think it would. I also think they are available separately. The reason I say is I'm not sure, no, I think that'll fit, is that there is some sort of apparatus in here, which is a little difficult to demonstrate. I was actually looking for the Waterman cartridge I had lying around here earlier. It doesn't matter. There is a spring in there. And the deal with the spring is, I'm guessing, that if there is a second cartridge in there, you can sort of, oops, there goes the regular cartridge, disaster strikes here, and you can sort of push that out or something. In any case, it's designed, I think, for school children. And often what they do, I know that's what I did when I was using a pen in school, is you take a second cartridge and you put it in the barrel. So you always have a backup as you're writing. It comes with this little placeholder. It's not an actual cartridge. So maybe it has something to do with that. That spring makes sure that everything stays in place, and the cartridge, the primary cartridge, doesn't fall out, because it's kind of, the second one is pushed back against it. But one issue with that is there's a lot of metal in there. I'm not sure how well the camera will pick that up, but there is a metal ring in there, and then there is that spring, which doesn't really make this pen eyedropper friendly, which with such a big plastic barrel could be kind of nice for some people. Okay, that's the past the pen. As I said, simple pen, there isn't that much more to talk about. What do I like about it, and what do I not like about it? Well, it's pretty affordable, under $30. I know that's not super cheap, but I mean, pens can get a lot more expensive. It is a smooth nib, even with the black coating. It's very pleasant. I found it a very pleasant writer. It's a very vibrant design, several colors, but even this pink. This is a, I was a little bit careful when I say that, but a girly pink. I think a lot of young girls will appreciate this color, and if you're a man who likes this color, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that either. Aziza just gave me a look across the room like I'm not that young, but I definitely like the pink too. I'm only making this worse. I make it worse every second, so I'm just going to shut up now. And you have that spring-loaded clip, which I think is very neat, because it works really well. What do I not like about it so much? Well, there's a couple of things. Especially the section, it's plastic, it feels a bit cheap. There's some sort of texture to it, but it's not rubbery, it feels very plasticky. So it does have a slightly cheaper feel. You cannot eyedropper it, and I know that people, when they see big plastic barrels, they love doing that, but I don't think that's a very viable option here. It does post well, so I mean that is doable. My biggest issue with the pen was that the section confuses me. There isn't a whole lot of shape to this section. You see, it's very slightly, sort of like very, very, very minor hourglass. It's a bit fatter there and a bit fatter there and a bit narrower up there. But as I wrote, I found that the pen rotates a lot in my hand. That's not enough for me to hold on to. And that is a bit of an issue, because at some point I start to misalign the nib, and it doesn't really write that well anymore. So for me that was an issue. Maybe that's not an issue for other people. In all, I don't find that a terrible deal though, because it was definitely not that the pen was unusable. I just had to make sure I kept it aligned properly, as a pen should be anyway. It's not that bad. For that price, that smoothness of nib, cartridge converter option, I don't think it's that terrible. So it's definitely made well, no sharp edges or anything, so that's pretty cool. I like it. We need to see how the pen writes. That's what's coming up next. I hope this was useful so far. A very kind thank you to Goldspot for sending me this pen. I appreciate it. Measurements of the pen, as well as high resolution pictures, will be on the website, sbrebrown.com. Hope this was useful. I'm glad to see you later. Bye bye. Okay, so here we go with the Faber Castell WritINK with the the medium nib. And I'm thinking this is the cartridge that came with the pen, so it's just a blue cartridge. As I said, even with this black coating, it's a smooth writer. Very pleasant, not a lot of feedback. And a nice, pretty rich line. Fast writing. It's not a gushing nib. Quick brown, fox, dog, fox, etc. And you definitely see there is some skips there. So it could maybe be a little bit wetter, but it's well tuned. I just think it's not a gushing nib, but you can see there's definitely some wetness there. Okay, with a tiny bit of pressure, you can get out some line variation. Not a whole lot, but you can definitely get some out of it if you're careful. Okay, reverse writing. You go from medium to, I would say, fine. It tends to run a little dry, but you can definitely squeeze out a couple of words that way, and you will get a finer line if you really want to. Okay, well, there you have it. Gold Spot, thank you for sending me this pen. I appreciate it. Hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.